Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have another Santa Barbara Wargaming battle report for you. Retribution versus Rhul. We have Mark taking the forces of Rhul, General Ossrum, and Michael taking Rahn Tier 4, the new Rahn tier list. Michael, could we go over your list, please?
Sure. This is the Rahn Tier 4 list, as was mentioned, Fire from on High. It varies quite a bit from Rahn's pre-existing Tier 4 list, his pre-existing tier list. For the list breakdown of the units themselves, here we have an Aspis, but the Aspis is actually going to be a Chimera for this game. We have Hyperion as well. Rahn, the man himself, a pair of obligatory Arcanists, Shield Magister, Shield Artificer, the Phoenix, a unit of Battle Mages. We're also going to have 2 units of Stormfall Archers advanced deploying. To discuss the tier itself, it's definitely an interesting one. It varies quite a bit from Rahn's other tier list in the sense that it now brings Stormfall Archers to the table, as well as having Hyperion as a requirement. However, the benefits that you get are pretty extraordinary. For one, you get bonus movement for all Myrmidons on the first turn, which can definitely help Rahn lay down some hurt with an early game feat, some chain blasts, being able to rush quickly to tag the opponent before he even gets out of his deployment zone. In addition, Stormfall Archers gain advanced deploy. So similarly, if you have an opponent who's clustered up with a lot of infantry early in the game, you can really carpet bomb the crap out of them, do some significant damage. In addition, having 2 shield solos discounts the price of arc nodes, getting a little bit of point efficiency in there. The Magister I'm very familiar with, but the Artificer I have a lot less experience with. That's certainly why he's not painted at this point, so I'm curious to see how he performs. I've played one other game with this tier so far and was very pleased with the results. So we'll definitely have to see how it does versus the brand new General Ossrum and his Rhulic mercenaries today.
And that brings us right over here to the Rhulic forces. Mark, can you tell us what you have?
Sure. As you've heard, I've got Ossrum. Now, I'm not taking his State of War Tier 4. I don't have enough range. Well, technically I have enough range units, but I'm just going to stick with the Searforge Commission. For right now, as you see, I'm well advanced. I'm 14 inches up the field there. Ossrum has in his battle group two gunners and an avalancher. Now, I've not really played with the avalancher that much, but I think that generally I favor the Hammer Rock Ram. I think the avalancher, though, can really shine under Ossrum, maybe even more so than under Durgan, although Durgan's feat's still good. So that's his battle group. You see I've got John over here. Again, I've not really played with him before, but if I wanted to put... I have lots of different options to put fire for effect or snipe on now. I've got a max unit of Ogre and Assault Corps. Really love these guys. I've seriously been considering getting another max unit if I actually do the State of War, Ossrum's Tier 4. So I've got Thor. Thor has under his Jack Marshall both the Hammer Rock Ram, which is, I think, one of my favorite jacks in the game, bar none, with assault and critical catastrophic blasty damage from his gun.
Horrific.
He can be pretty horrific. He can really throw out the damage there. And then the Basher, of course, is just ridiculous mobility and speed, especially on Ossrum's perfect plan feat turn. Thor also has a Ogren Boker who is there to kind of shield him, give him a little bit more survivability. And I got a max unit of Horgenhold Forge Guard. Now, Horgenhold Forge Guard are generally a staple, a mainstay in any Rhulic Forces army. I don't really know how they'll perform under Ossrum. I mean, obviously +2 speed with reach and Pathfinder and additional +2 arm. They'll basically be nails if they're able to get a charge off. As it is right now, they'll just be tying down a flanks, center, armored. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward. We'll see how the general does.
Excellent. So the mission that they're playing is just cast or kill. Just decided to keep it simple. We have 2 linear obstacles on either side. We have a forest, a hill, and some rough terrain. So we'll see how these generals navigate the battlefield. We'll be back at you at the bottom of turn 1.
Alright, turn 1 for Rahn. Pretty general advance, not too much in the way of activity. The Ossrum list has a lot in the way of heavy infantry, stuff that's fairly durable, so going for chain blasts or shooting from the Stormfalls didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. But started to get everything up into position, force field up because there's a lot of blast damage over there. Polarity shield as well on the Phoenix in case I needed to be aggressive next turn. Otherwise, not too much to report. Trying to keep things defensive, try to make use of the linear obstacle here, the forest, the hill, just because I know that there's a lot of shooting on the other side of the table.
Nick, have you seen?
So this is the bottom of round 1. Basically, all I did was make a pretty cautious advance all around the all across the battle line here. Some people are asking why I deployed my my Horgenhold Forge Guard in rough terrain. As you can see with the positioning of Ossrum, there's really nothing else that I could have done effectively. I could have put them over here. They would have been far outside of Ossrum's effective range of control for perfect plan later on, which they can really benefit from. I couldn't have put them over here, same issue, and the rest of my battle line was pretty congested with other troops. Okay, so all I did was advance. Didn't have fantastic luck with Thor. My very first attempt to drive failed, so couldn't use any kind of jack marshalling. That wasn't that bad this turn, because it's really later on that he needs to be effective. So it was a bit annoying, but it wasn't really hurting. Ossrum, he just cast Fire for Effect on the Avalancher and Snipe on the Ogre and Assault Corps. I'm still figuring out how to use his amazing ranged spells here. As you can see, I'm sure that you'll be watching this asking, why did he do that? Why wouldn't he do the intelligent thing? I'm still figuring it out. Just move guys up. Hearn and John, the only person who really fired was the Avalancher. I was able to get a pretty good roll with Fire for Effect. I did 9 points of damage to Hyperion. I think that that's not going to be my target for the Avalancher from now on, though. I think I'm going to concentrate on infantry, since it will absolutely shred with Fire for Effect.
Okay. Oh, you get
Top of turn 2. Productive turn for Retribution. I was really tempted to go sort of all in with Rahn's feet, but decided to hold on to it for future turns. Instead, push the Stormfall Archers up pretty aggressively, ready to get some shooting done. The Stormfalls over here use 2 shots to basically light the Horgenhold Forge Guard on fire.
It's a lot of fire.
With 2 others brutal shotting the Forerunners just to drop a couple of models. The other unit of Stormfalls were able to take out one of the lights with brutal shots. Some pretty decent rolling there. The Phoenix with Polarity Shield moved up into a pretty aggressive position. He was able to use the Halo Cannon to take out another Horgenhold Forge Guard and light them on fire again. He was also able to arc a Force Hammer into this cluster of big base models in here, knocking a bunch of them down, not doing too much damage with the collaterals, but that wasn't really the point. The back line shuffled up just a little bit with the Artificer here, getting his bubble up, able to boost a little bit of death, prevent against some blast damage. Over on the left flank, things are a little bit quiet. Shuffled things around just a bit. Hyperion's weapons being fairly short range. Didn't do too much in the way of shooting, but it's nice to keep him in reserve, keep him back in a conservative position since that Polarity Shield someplace else, and basically be able to keep him around in case he decides to make, you, being Mark, decides to make an aggressive push. Otherwise, that's it for my turn.
So you're in him, okay, so that was 1 focus.
Okay, this is the bottom of round 2. This is going to be a pretty short little section here. Basically, I went for an assassination run, which was just, it was dumb. I don't know Rahn that well. I had this entire flank holding down blast damage, so I could not assassinate Rahn with what I attempted to do, which was just blast damage, blast damage, blast damage, blast. It wouldn't have mattered. Anyways, I popped my feet, so they all have arm +2. They had Pathfinder. They were allowed to get the Horgenhold and some of my jacks up into their teeth a bit. These 2 jacks being jack marshaled by Thor, who's now trying to hide until the middle of next round unless I'm killed. He just wanted to put them in their way so I can kind of forestall the Retribution
I see what you did there.
the Retribution from all of the mistakes that I made, essentially. So it's a learning experience. It's really good, and I learned a lot of things. The main thing I learned was to cycle spells. Cycle Fire for Effect. Snipe's good, but Fire for Effect especially. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
And that's the game, folks. We're going to call this one a victory for Retribution. Basically, I saw a good opportunity for Rahn to do his thing. I moved the Chimera up into this flanking position. I was able to pop Rahn's feet and laterally send a Force Hammer slamming along to hit Ossrum in the flank and knock him 3 inches. Having him knocked down in this fairly open position was obviously very, very nice. Use the battle mages over here to help clear out via charge the Horgenhold Forge Guard that was sort of jamming my lines a little bit. Ideally, I wanted to slam this Rhulic heavy laterally to unengage the Phoenix, who I loaded up with focus, but I rolled a beautiful Snake Eyes for the combo smite.
It was epic.
So I had to get creative and use the spell from the Artificer to help pull this guy out of engagement, out of range of the Phoenix. The Phoenix was loaded up with focus on standby. Hyperion was in a position to move up. Got a focus from the Arcanist to let loose with his Starburst. Thankfully, I rolled extremely well with my Stormfall Archers against the knockdown Ossrum and was able to do the job in spite of Ostrum's boosted armor. From
2 of those, I think it was the 2 lock and loads and 4.
The damage roll on the final Stormfall was 664.
Yeah.
So we'll call that one fortuitous.
I would say the lock and load dice are definitely weighted.
Yeah,
I see a lot of lock and loads when those are rolled.
Very funny. In hindsight, an excellent game. I think that Hyperion actually didn't fire or do anything.
I don't think he did anything. And I ignored him.
Yeah, I think it was nice knowing that this flank over here was potentially anchored, and if I wanted to, I could put Polarity Shield on him and send him forward to beat face if the game turned into attrition. But I saw a good opportunity and had enough redundancy that I wasn't too dice dependent if I did want to go for the assassination. Decided to pull the trigger, and it worked out nicely.
Excellent. Here, we can go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so
Post-game thoughts?
Thoughts on the game. Ossrum, it's kind of like an embarrassment of riches, it feels like at this point. Gorton, he's got a limited spell list. They're pretty good, but you know where they're going. You know, it's like if I have a driller, it's getting strength of granite, exactly, right? With Ossrum, I have a huge spell list. He has enough focus. He can play around with him a little bit. And so, as I said in a previous kind of section to this video, cycling Fire for Effect is going to be pretty good once I get the hang of exactly what Ossrum can do with his force. This particular matchup, this entire flank was AoE's blast damage, could do a huge amount of damage. I didn't use them effectively. I think I didn't use them for what they really needed to be doing, which was just removing all the infantry. I pretty much could have done that and then set up attacks from different angles. Hearn and John, I could see Fire for Effect on them with the Grape Shot. It's PAL 7, but it would be 3 damage dice on all 3 AoEs. Could be very effective.
That's hot.
Yeah, so I'm still coming to grips with what Ossrum can do. I really like Ossrum. He's different than Gorton. Gorton is a straight-ahead beat stick. Durgan is a straight-ahead shooty kind of caster, and Ossrum is what I like in a caster. He's a mobile toolbox that can also be very situational.
I know from my perspective, trying to deal with Ostrum's feet this last turn, even with Polarity Shield on my forwardmost unit, the Phoenix there, you really extended the threat range on your Rhulic guys, even with some knockdown jacks a lot of things that put you at a disadvantage as far as getting your models across the table.
Yeah, that
extra little burst for the Rhulic guys really helps them get the jump, I feel.
Yeah, I think the perfect plan is perfectly titled for what it can do. Pathfinder +2 speed, +2 arm is gorgeous. You should have seen the wallpaper. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the
anyway.
+2 arm on Ossrum definitely made me take a minute or two to contemplate whether or not I wanted to attempt to run at all.
Yeah.
Even with a big movement turn where he was upkeeping spells and tossing out focus, he definitely stays durable even when he's drained.
He definitely has the potential to jam with focus up and his speed up. I mean, you're not going to remove... What does he max out at? Like, armor 25?
For arm, yeah, he gets up to Gorton level armor if I'm camping.
Yeah, especially
again,
with your feet.
Like I said, I didn't really take the feet into enough consideration. It's like I spent 3 on Energizer, but I only had two guys in my battle group. I didn't use Bulldoze.
Yeah,
Bullet
Dodger would have really improved.
I didn't use Bullet Dodger. I didn't really. I could have been booking my guys up the field. I could have stuck in everybody's face, and all of your potential shooting. All of Mike's potential shooting could have just been nullified because I would have been in combat. I would have lost a few guys, but I would have had that crucial extra turn to be able to get in there and beat face effectively with my own guys. So all in all, I really like Ossrum. I need to play with him a bit more.
I think he's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Mark does with him. Alright, so everyone here from Santa Barbara Wargaming, thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll have many more video battle reports to come. Have a good one.